so I see you once again. My life was kinda short, but I got so many blessings. Happy you were mine, it sucks that it's all ending. For too long, don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head.
I'll get you up and going out of bed.
Yeah, hey.
Don't stay awake for too long. Don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. I'll get you up and going
Hey.
out of bed.
Yeah. I'm happy that you here with me. I'm sorry if I tear up. When me and you were younger, you would always make me cheer up. Taking goofy videos and walking through the park, you would jump into my arms. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. This that throw up in your Birkin bag, hook up with someone random. This that social awkward suicide that by your lips and by your likes. I swear she had a man, but shit hit different when it's Thursday night. That college dropout music every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the 10K on the table just so we can be secluded. And the vodka came diluted. One more line, I'm superhuman. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. Fuck you and you and you. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. This that hot girl bummer two-step, they can't box me in, I'm too left. This that drip is more like oceans, they can't fit me in a Trojan. Out of pocket, but I'm always in my bag, yeah, that's the slogan. This that who's all there, I'm pulling up with an emo chick that's broken. This that college dropout music, every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the 10K on the table just so we can be secluded. And the vodka came diluted. One more line, I'm superhuman. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. Fuck you and you and you. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. This the college dropout music every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the college dropout music every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. We go stupid, we go stupid, we go.
And you want me to change? Fuck you!
Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. Fuck you and you and you. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum.
I've been having dreams, jumping on a trampoline,
flipping in the air. On Neverland, just float
there.
As I'm looking up, suddenly the sky erupts.
Flames that light the trees, spread to fallen leaves. Now they're right upon me. Wait, if I'm on fire, how am I so deep in love? When I dream of dying, I never feel so loved. I've been having dreams, splashing in a summer stream.
Tripping, I fall in. I wanted it to happen.
My body turns to ice,
My body turns to ice.
crushing way to paradise.
Paradise.
Solid black or gold, lying in the cold. I feel right at home. Wait, if I'm on fire, how am I so deep in love? When I dream of dying, I never feel so loved. Wait, if I'm on fire, how am I so deep in love? When I dream of dying, I never feel so loved. I never feel so
La 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 la.
I've been having dreams,
La 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 la.
jumping on a trampoline,
La 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 la.
flipping in the air.
La 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 la.
I'll never land, just float there. Wait, if I'm on fire, how am I so deep in love? When I dream of dying, I never feel so. Wait, if I'm on fire, how am I so deep in love? When I dream of dying, I never feel so loved.
You haven't played World of Tanks yet? You're wasting your life, because in World of...
have taken out my
taken
Invisalign.
out my Invisalign, and this is the album.
White shirt, now red, my bloody nose sleeping. You're on your tippy toes, creeping around like no one knows. Think you're so criminal. Bruises on both my knees for you. Don't say thank you, oh please. I do what I want when I'm wanting to. My soul, so cynical. So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type, might seduce your dad type. I'm the bad guy.
Duh.
I'm the bad guy. I like it when you take control, even if you know that you don't own me. I'll let you play the role, I'll be your animal. My mommy likes to sing along with me, but she won't sing the song if she reads all the lyrics. She'll pity the men I know. So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy. I'm that bad type, make your mama sad type, make your girlfriend mad type, might seduce your dad type. I'm the bad guy.
Duh.
I'm the bad I like when you get mad. I guess I'm pretty glad that you're alone. You said she's scared of me? I mean, I don't see what she sees, but maybe it's 'cause I'm wearing your cologne. I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy.
I wanna touch on you. You see me in my room. Wish you were here right now. All of the things I do. I wanna get freaky on camera. I love when we get freaky on camera.
We freak on the cam, love it first sight and sending to the gram. Pussy all pink with a tan and I play with it till my middle fingers are cramped up. Swipe right 'cause he thick and he handsome. Love a sneak peek when you're free, can we cam up? No shots to the screen, put your hands up. Make a pop in your face like a Samsung.
And that's my nigga. Better yet, that's my hitter. He don't leave notes, so if you do, you go miss some. Met him on Tinder. You swipe left on pictures.
And he don't even scroll through Insta, unless he going through my pictures.
I wanna touch on you. You see me in my room. Wish you were here right now. All of the things I do. I wanna get freaky on camera. I love when we get freaky on camera.
Is you into it? Let's break the internet. We do it the best when we outside by sex. When he off work, he calling me on Skype. Trust me when I meet him, I'm fucking him on sight. Let me see you beat it up, feeling like Mike. Oh, surf that till I drown in all of your pics. Can't scroll down 'cause some of them dicks. Look at my parents going through my shit.
Oh, can't give head, give me the FaceTime. Nigga, you a creep, I saw you a daytime. You ain't getting pussy, you fucking on AI.
Oh,
What a time to be alive.
living in a picture, blinging on my hotline.
I wanna touch on you. You see me in my room. Wish you were here right now. All of the things I do. I wanna get freaky on camera. I love when we get freaky on camera. I wanna touch on you. You see me in my room. Wish you were here right now. All of the things I do. I wanna get freaky on camera. I love when we get freaky on camera.
Is you into it? Let's break the internet. We do it the best when we outside by sex. Oh.
if I told you that I love you? Would you tell me that you love me back? What if I told you that I miss you? Would you tell me that you miss me back? What if I told you that I need you? Would you tell me that you need me? Yeah. If I tell you all my feelings, would you believe me? Yeah. What if I told you that I love you? Yeah. What if I told you that I love you? Yeah. What if I told you that I need you? Would you tell me that you need me too? What if I told you that I love you? Hey, when you told me that you love me, was I a fool to believe in you? When you told me I was special, was I dumb for trusting you? When you told me that you want me, did you really want me? Or was this all a joke to you? I don't wanna say I miss you if I don't know that you miss me back. I don't wanna say the wrong thing. If I do, there's no coming back. What if I told you that I need you? Would you tell me that you need me? Yeah. If I tell you all my feelings, would you believe me? Yeah. What if I told you that I love you? Yeah. What if I told you that I love you? I wish I told you that I loved you. Now it's too late, you have someone new. I hope he loves you like I do. Do you love the way he's treating you? What if I told you that I love you? Would you tell me that you love me back? If I told you that I miss you, would you tell me that you miss me back? What if I told you that I need you? Would you tell me that you need me? Yeah. If I tell you all my feelings, would you believe me? Yeah. What if I told you that I love you? Yeah. What if I told you that I love you? Tell me that you need me too. What if I told you that I love you? What if I told you that I...
Until I make you mine, until I make you mine. Put your hand in mine.
Hello, Year 9 and 10, and welcome to the second of your biology podcasts. This is Cells Part 2, and today I wanted to have a little chat about cell division. So, you all know that inside your cells we've got these structures called chromosomes, and chromosomes carry your genetic information, which is something called DNA. So, DNA is made up of 4 base pairs, A, T, C, and G. And how those pairs are arranged tells us what we're going to be like. Okay, they code for proteins. Cell division in most cells is done by a process called mitosis. Mitosis is one cell becoming 2. There is another type of cell division, and that is meiosis, and that's just for the sex cells or gametes, so in sperms and egg cells in humans. So with those, one cell becomes 4, so it's slightly different. So let's have a little chat about mitosis then. So cell division by mitosis is really important because it's how we grow and it's how we repair things in our body. And cell division really involves knowing what happens at the chromosome level. So chromosomes carry genetic information in that molecule called DNA. And what happens with mitosis is that one cell becomes 2. So inside your nucleus, you've got these structures called chromosomes. And each chromosome is made from a single molecule of DNA, but when it's ready to divide and one cell to make 2, what the DNA does is it will copy itself and then it will coil back up and condense and form the chromosomes that you see in all your standard biology textbook pictures. Every single cell in your body except your gametes, which are the sex cells, contain 46 of these chromosomes, and they like to hang around in pairs. So you've got 23 pairs in every cell. In your sex cells, though, your gametes, you've only got 23, so you've got half the number. And that's so that when the sex cells join together to make a baby, you've got the correct number. If they didn't do that, then you'd have too many. In females, the 2 chromosomes are identical in shape, and they're both X's, so we call females an XX. In men, one of the chromosomes is a slightly different shape. So you've got an X chromosome and you've got a Y. So we call males XY. So in mitosis then, cells will divide when we grow, and that's any organism grows because this process happens in other things other than humans. And it also happens when we damage ourselves or we need to make something new. We need to make a new cell. And we have this thing called the cell cycle, and you can Google this and look up the cell cycle. But basically, it starts off with a cell growing. You then get the DNA being made and copying itself. You then get some more growth. You get mitosis happening. You get the cytoplasm separating and 2 new cells being made. You get that temporary cell in between while they're just resting a little bit. And then you get the cells growing and doing all that process again. It's really worth looking that picture up online. It is called the cell cycle, and it's just a little circular diagram that you can check out on the internet to describe what happens in your cells to get this growth period. So the stages of mitosis then. At A level, you'll need to learn the names, but this is something that has been taken out of GCSE at the moment. If you do go on to do A-level biology, when I teach it, we talk about IPMAT and PMAT, and those are really the things that you have to remember. Those are the letters that correspond to the stages, but don't worry about that at the moment. So the stages you guys have to know for mitosis are the following. So the first thing the cell does when it's going through mitosis is the cell gets ready to divide. So it gets ready to split in half. To do that, what it'll do first of all is copy all of its DNA. So the DNA replicates. Replicates means to copy, and it forms 2 copies of every chromosome inside it. What will then happen is all of those chromosomes line up along the center of the cell. What will then happen is that the nuclear membrane, before this happens, the nuclear membrane has gone. It breaks down so that every chromosome can line up along the center. A spindle then forms, which is like little wire attachments locking onto each of those chromosomes. And what it does then is it pulls one set of chromosomes one way, and it pulls the other set of chromosomes, the other copy, the other way. So what you end up with is this like sort of figure of 8 shaped cell, and it's got one set of chromosomes at one end and one set at the other. What can then happen is the cell can actually start to divide, knowing it's going to end up with one set of chromosomes in one side, one in the other. And what you'll find is the cell membrane starts to split, and then it'll split off into 2 cells. Then you've got all the chromosomes you need in each of those 2 cells. and the cytoplasm and the cell membrane divide to form those two cells, and then the nucleus reforms. So in mitosis, two cells are produced, and we call these, because they're identical to the parent cell, the first cell that started this, we call them daughter cells. Now, once you've got to grips with the basis of the basics even of mitosis, you can start to have a bit of a play about with it, and this is really where science is heading towards now. So when your cells divide, they haven't yet differentiated. That means they haven't been given their specific jobs that they need to do yet, and we call these blank cells stem cells. If we can get a stem cell, a blank cell, to turn into something that we need to repair an injury, then it means that we can get that person better. And that's really where stem cell technology is heading towards. So, for example, in Russia, a friend of mine went over there a couple of years back and had some stem cell therapy. Now, that involved taking cells from a baby's umbilical cord. The umbilical cords normally go in the bin. So, taking cells from an umbilical cord and injecting them into his shoulder to repair an injury. And it meant that the injury did get better, but it did also cost £10,000 for one injection. So this is something that we are looking at, but stem cell therapy is a massive move forward in terms of biology. There was a study done a couple of years back. They didn't know that stem cells existed in different parts of the body. We thought that they only existed inside your bone marrow, so the stuff inside your bones that dogs like to eat from bones when they get them, and in babies. So people started to investigate this, and there was a study done back a few years back, and it took stem cells from the heart, and they found stem cells in the heart. So they took a patient, they did trials with this, they took a patient who had some muscles that had stopped working in their heart, took some stem cells out of that person from their heart, grew them and injected them back in, and it repaired the muscle. That meant that this person didn't need to carry on with their medication, and it meant that in the future they wouldn't need a heart transplant, so a heart given to them by somebody else to keep them alive. This is a massive, massive area of research at the moment, but it can also be really controversial. When we talk about the rights and wrongs of science, we talk about ethics. So the ethics of a situation is about whether it's right or wrong. And the fact that most stem cells come from aborted fetuses or from umbilical cords is a reason that a lot of people have an issue with scientists studying stem cells. Now, the umbilical cords would go in the bin, but still people say, you know, these are cells and the baby hasn't had the right to say whether they want their cells being used for research or not. So have a think about where you stand on this. It's a fantastic bit of technology, but there are ethical considerations with using stem cells. So you might ask, why don't we just use adult stem cells, with the adult being able to say, yes, I agree to you using my stem cells in research? Well, it's not that simple. Babies have the ability, their stem cells can go on to make loads of different types of cell. But adults, because we're a bit older, we can't do that. So our stem cells, our blank cells that haven't been given jobs yet, can only go on to make a limited number of different types of cell. And that's why people would rather work with those younger stem cells.
Well, it's all about cells.
Plants also divide their cells, and cell division in plants happens in little bits called meristems. Now, a meristem is a growing point on your plant. Let's say it's a rose, and you have a bit of an accident and hit the rose plant with a football. Well, that top bit of the plant that you've broken off, it had one meristem, so it's not going to grow out the top anymore. That's it. You've stunted its growth, and all the growth is going to come out the sides where there might still be some meristems. However, grass has meristems all the way up the blade of grass. So when you cut your grass, the grass can grow again. So this is where your cells are dividing, and it's where you get that, we call it a growing region. So it's where you get that growth from your plant. So if the plant's only got one meristem in that section, then you chop it down, it isn't going to regrow. No mitosis will happen and make new cells. If it's got multiple meristems up the plant, up that one stem, then it will carry on growing, and mitosis will carry on happening, and the plant will grow and grow and grow. And that's why you have to cut your grass more than once every year. Knowing about meristems can also lead you into some quite interesting bits of horticultural science, and you can look at cloning plants. Now, cloning plants is pretty fantastic, because if you've got your prize-winning plant, you don't want to risk it going to seed. Because seed is sexual reproduction, where you have a male and a female cell joining together, you don't know what produces. If we could clone or get the plant to do asexual reproduction with one parent, we know the plant is going to look exactly like the adult, so we can carry on winning our medals and awards at these plant shows and flower shows. But obviously, if you're cloning the plant, or if the plant copies itself by asexual reproduction, then if it's got any issues, any defects or any genetic issues, those are also going to be copied. So you've got to weigh up whether that's something that you want to do. So cells from meristems can be cloned, and we can do that in a number of different ways. What we can do is take a small number of cells from the tissue of the plant, and we can put them into something like agar, which you may have seen in little petri dishes, or we can give it some plant hormone to stimulate the growth. The main thing is really to be clean. If you want to try and copy any plants, which you can do in a greenhouse, you need to be really, really clean with that. There tends to be a lot of fungus that gets onto them and rots them. So rot is the worst enemy of any horticultural scientists. But if you can take small samples, if you ever go to a garden centre and see African violets, they're a really good plant to do this with. They're a few pounds, and you could chop one leaf into about 30 sections, put it on some soil, give it a spray of a fungicide, and you'll make 30 plants off that one leaf. So using tissue culture and looking at cloning of cells of plants would then lead you on to genetic engineering, which is a massive field of study for people at the moment as well. So what about the uses of human stem cells then? Sorry, that's my dog grumbling in the background. So what about the uses of human stem cells? We could potentially find a cure for type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is the genetic one. Type 2 is the one that's from lifestyle. It might be that multiple sclerosis is something we could fix. Spinal cord injury is the big one that people are really looking at. And it might be that thanks to stem cells, we can regrow a spinal cord or a section of brain tissue that's died. These are really amazing steps forward if we can do that. And there are current trials going on with that at the moment. Some people have managed to get nerve cells to actually grow and be able to carry a signal. That's a massive step forward. So in 50 years' time, maybe people who are paralysed, maybe we can grow them a new spinal cord. Some of the other things that we could do is that maybe we could cure things like blood cancer or leukemia with the patient's own cells. And again, massive areas of study that hopefully in the future will be things that help people live better lives. Hopefully you've enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of biology part 2 of your cells stuff, so mitosis and looking a little bit at stem cells. I will try and get lesson 3 done as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you need to keep up some study each day.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of time.
Mm.
Coughing a lot, blow your bloody nose. You don't have much blow. Is that a dirty tissue? Well, it was obviously yours. Must go into the bin. Hmm?
Do you want to learn to draw professional and impressive artwork from scratch that will blow people's minds? I'm Scott Harris.
I see you at the movies. I see you with your lipstick on. I'm looking at the cosmos. I'm hoping that we'll get along. It's time for an ovation. It's time for us to make a change. It's time for a Chinese New Year. It's time for me to make a way. Then I can't wait to get back from here. No, I can't wait to get out of here. No, I can't. No, I can't. No, I can't wait to get out of here. I see you at the movies. I see you with your lipstick on. I'm looking at the cosmos. I'm hoping that we'll get along. It's time for an ovation. It's time for us to make a change. It's time for a Chinese New Year. It's time for me to make a way. Sweat a lot, and I read a lot. I was there a lot last year. Wept a lot, oh baby you slept a lot. Was left a lot last year. Pleased a lot, baby you seized my heart, and I started to fall last year. Didn't have to moan it, keeping me in the moment. I that you had known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll with. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so? Didn't have to moan it, keeping me in the moment. I that you had known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll with. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so? It's been a long time since you feeling alive. Tell me coming at yourself. You ain't really been yourself. Tell me what must I do to tell my life? 'Cause luckily I'm good at reading. I wouldn't bug him and he won't stop cheesing. And we can dance all day around it. If you frontin', I'll be bouncing. If you want it, scream it, shout it, babe. Before I leave you dry. Didn't have to moan it, keeping me in the moment. I that you had known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll with. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so? Didn't have to moan it, keeping me in the moment. I that you had known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll with. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so?
Let me check my chest, my breath right quick. He ain't never seen it in a dress like this. He ain't never even been impressed like this. Probably why I got him quiet on the set like zip. Like it, love it, need it, bad. Take it, own it, steal it, fast. The boys stop playing, grab my ass.
Acting like you shy.
Shut it, save it, keep it pushing while you beating round the bush and knowing you want all this woman.
Never knock it till you try.
All of them bitches hating, I have you with me. All of my niggas saying you mad committed. Really to anybody, you had them pretty. All of the body, I need ass and titties.
Didn't have to moan it, keeping me in the moment. I that you had known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches got to roll with. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so? Didn't have to moan it, keeping me in the moment. I that you had known it. Why don't you say so?
last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, I'll give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, I'll give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. Talk to me, I need to hear you need me like I need you. Fall for me, I wanna know you feel how I feel for you, love. Before you, baby, I was numb, trying to pay by pulling up, speeding fast on the run, never wanna get caught up. Now you're the one that I'm calling, swore that I never forget. Don't think I'm just talking, I think I might go all in. No exceptions, cause I need ya. Like I'm out of my mind, cause I can't get enough. Only one that I give my time, cause I got eyes for ya. Might make an exception for ya, cause I've been feeling ya. Think I might be out of my mind, I think that you're the one. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, I'll give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, I'll give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. Cause I'm sick of falling down, but I open up and give my trust. They find a way to break it down.
When you come in here on Mondays, I expect you to be all here. Now, what's that say?
It says Sunday.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. Been in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah. Hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way around it. Everyone falls down sometimes, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should.
In Germany, you go.
Walk around the neighborhood, feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, some days you wake up and nothing works, you feel surrounded. Gotta give your feet some gravity to get you grounded. Keep good things inside your ears just like the waves and sound it. And just say whatever, cause there is no way around it. Everyone falls down sometimes, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should. Been in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, feeling good, like I should. Been in dark, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Don't stay awake for too long, don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. I'll get you up and going out of bed.
Yeah, I don't wanna fall asleep, I don't wanna pass away. I've been thinking of our future cause I'll never see those days. I don't know why this has happened, but I probably deserve it. I tried to do my best, but you know that I'm not perfect. I've been praying for forgiveness, you've been praying for my health. When I leave this earth, hoping you'll find someone else. Cause yeah, we still young, there's so much we haven't done. Getting married future husband with his son. I wish it could be me, but I won't make it off this bed. I hope I go to heaven, so I see you once again. My life was kinda short, but I got so many blessings. Happy you were mine, it sucks that it's all ending. For too long, don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head.
I'll get you up and going out of bed.
Yeah, hey.
Don't stay awake for too long. Don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. They'll get you up and going
Hey.
out of bed.
Yeah, I'm happy that you're here with me. I'm sorry if I tear up. When me and you were younger, you would always make me cheer up. Taking goofy videos and walking through the park. You would jump into my arms every time you heard a bark. Cuddle in your sheets, sang me sound asleep, and sneak out through your kitchen at exactly 1:03. Sundays went to church, and Mondays watched a movie. Soon you'll be alone, sorry that you have to lose me. For too long, don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. I'll get you up and down, out of bed.
Stay awake for too long. Don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. They'll get you up and going out of bed.
Don't stay awake for too long, don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. I'll get you up and down, out of bed.
Don't stay awake for too long. Don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. They'll get you up and going out of bed. Don't stay awake for too long. Don't go to bed. I'll make a cup of coffee for your head.
She put my name with yellow hearts. Her favorite color like the stars. I didn't listen very hard when she told me she was crazy from the start. She put my name with yellow hearts. Yeah, she did. I said she was a work of art. I didn't listen very hard when she told me she was crazy from the start. I drive down open road so slow. Here comes the train, I'll let it go. Ain't got nobody on my phone. Don't like being all alone. Not good at keeping with the trends. So good at welcoming a mess. It's been a while since I heard say that we were more than friends. I know a lot is going on. But girl, please tell me, and I'll let you be. Are you still with me or not? She put my name with yellow hearts. Her favorite color like the stars. I didn't listen very hard when she told me she was crazy from the start. She put my name with yellow hearts. I said she was a work of art. I didn't listen very hard when she told me she was crazy from the start. She put yellow hearts around my name. I thought they were all just the same. To you, what do they really mean? Have you only been playing games? Like a garden with a carbon beast, like a Bob Rosa with a heart and beard, taking it all in like I got no issues in my nature. Burning roses blooming in the night. Birds wanna take me on a flight. Appreciating my land for it turns into a glacier. Chasers are of no good use. This taste will be long endured. Why'd you have to go so soon? I thought this was as good as new. She put my name with yellow hearts. Her favorite color like the stars. I didn't listen very hard when she told me she was crazy from the start. She put my name with yellow hearts. I said she was a work of art. I thought they were all. I didn't listen very hard. She told me she was crazy from the start. Have you only been playing games?
It's alright, is that? You're okay, all
She put my name from the start. She put my name with yellow hearts. I said she was a work of art.
Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. This that throw up in your Birkin bag, hook up with someone random. This that social awkward suicide that by your lips and by your likes. I swear she had a man, but shit hit different when it's Thursday night. That college dropout music every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the 10K on the table just so we can be secluded. And the vodka came diluted. One more line, I'm superhuman. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. Fuck you and you and you. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. This that hot girl bum, the two-step, they can't box me, hit them two left. This that drip is more like oceans, they can't fit me in a Trojan. Out of pocket, but I'm always in my bag, yeah, that's the slogan. This that who's all there, I'm pulling up with an emo chick that's broken. This that college dropout music, every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the 10K on the table just so we can be secluded. And the vodka came diluted. One more line, I'm superhuman. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. Fuck you and you and you. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. This the college dropout music, every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the college dropout music, every day like that. She be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid, we go stupid, we go stupid, we go.
And you want me to change? Fuck you!
Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. I'm through, I'm through, I'm through. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention. Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friends and they hate me too. Fuck you and you and you. This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw attention.
I know I fucked up, I'm just a loser. Shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely, water pouring down from the ceiling. I knew this would happen, still hard to believe it. Maybe I'm dramatic, I don't wanna see me, I don't wanna panic. I'm a sad girl in this big world, it's a mad world. All of my friends know it's heaven, you're a bad thing. I know I fucked up, I'm just a loser. Shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely. La 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 la, la 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 la, lonely. I'm a lonely bitch. La 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 la, la 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 la, lonely. Super lonely. Now I'm in the bathtub crying, think I'm slowly sinking. Bubbles in my eyes now, maybe I'm just dreaming. Now I'm in the sad club, just trying to get out back up. I'm a sad girl in this big world, it's a mad world. All of my friends know it's happened, you're a bad thing. I know I fucked up, I'm just a loser. Shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely. La 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 la, la 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 la, lonely. I'm a lonely bitch. La 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 la, la 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 la, lonely. Super lonely.
Loathe romance
shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter while you're out there drinking. I'm just a thinking about where I should have been. I've been lonely, yeah. I'm a lonely bitch. Super lonely. I've been lonely. I've been lonely by the way. I've been lonely.
There are a million things we can do together, all while staying home. Stay home with YouTube.
If you don't wanna see me, did a full 180, crazy, thinking about the way I was. Did the heartbreak change me? Maybe, but look at where I ended up. I'm all good already, so moved on. It's scary. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't come out, don't start caring about me now. Walk away, you know how. Don't start caring about me now. Aren't you the guy who tried to hurt me with the word goodbye? Though it took some time to survive you, I'm better on the other side. I'm all good already, so moved on. It's scary. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't come out, don't start caring about me now. Walk away, you know how. Don't start caring about me now. Don't stop now. I'm not where you left me at all. So if you don't wanna see me dancing with somebody, if you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't show up, don't come out, don't come out, don't stop caring about me now, about me now. Walk away, you know how, don't stop caring about me now.
So I never really knew you. God, I really tried to. Blindsided, addicted. Thought we could really do this, but really I was foolish. Hindsight, it's obvious. Talking with my lawyer, she said, where'd you find this guy? I said, young people fall in love with the wrong people sometimes. Some mistakes get made, that's alright, that's okay. You can think that you're in love when you're really just in pain. Some mistakes get made, that's alright, that's okay. In the end, it's better for me, that's the moral of the story, babe. It's funny how a memory turns into a bad dream when running wild turns volatile. Remember how we painted our house just like my grandparents did? So romantic, but we fought the whole time. Should have seen the signs. Well, talking with my mother, she said, where'd you find this guy? Said some people fall in love with the wrong people sometimes. Some mistakes get made, that's alright, that's okay. You can think that you're in love
But when you really just don't care.
You wanna sell food, you sell my food.
Ever since we were kids, bruv, together, trying to get to the top. To do that, we have to get Jamie out of the way.
Light him up.
You have to fight for what you want.
If they find you, you know what they'll do to you.
To get to the top, it's worth losing your people. Family. There ain't no trust in this game.
My last made me feel like I would never try again. But when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. My last made me feel like I would never try again. But then I saw you and I felt things I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. I had a dream, I got everything I wanted, not what you think. And if I'm being honest, it might have been a nightmare to anyone who might care. Thought I could fly, fly, fly. So I stepped off the golden, no. Nobody cried, cried, cried. Nobody even noticed. I saw them standing right there. Kinda thought they might care, might care. I had a dream, I got everything I wanted. But when I wake up, I see you with me. And you say, as long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. I don't wanna lie, yeah, but you can learn to. If I could change the way that you see yourself, you wouldn't wonder why, yeah. They don't deserve you. I'm waiting for tonight, oh, when you would be here in my arms. Waiting for tonight, oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long. Waiting for tonight, oh, when you would be here in my arms. Waiting for tonight, oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long. My last made me feel like I would never try again. But when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. And when I wake up, I see you with me. My last made me feel like I would never try again. But when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. My last made me feel like I would never try again. But then I saw you and I felt things I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. I had a dream, I got everything I want.
fly, fly, fly. So I stepped off the golden, no. Nobody cried, cried, cried. Nobody even noticed. I saw them standing right there. Kinda thought they might care, might care. I had a dream. I got everything I wanted, but when I wake up, I see you with me. And you say, as long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. I don't wanna lie, yeah, but you can learn to. If I could change the way that you see yourself, you wouldn't wonder why, yeah. They don't deserve you. Waiting for tonight, oh, when you would be here in my arms. Waiting for tonight, oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long. Waiting for tonight, oh, when you would be here in my arms. Waiting for tonight, oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. And when I wake up, I see you with me.
Wait.
My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but then I saw you and I felt things I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. I had a dream, I got everything I wanted, not what you think. And if I'm being honest, it might have been a nightmare to anyone who might care. Thought I could fly, fly, fly. So I stepped off the golden, no. Nobody cried, cried, cried. Nobody even noticed. I saw them standing right there. Kinda thought they might care, might care. I had a dream. I got everything I wanted, but when I wake up, I see you with me. And you say, as long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. I don't wanna lie, yeah, but you can learn to. If I could change the way that you see yourself, you wouldn't wonder why, yeah. They don't deserve you. Waiting for tonight, oh, when you would be here in my arms. Waiting for tonight, oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long. Waiting for tonight, oh, when you would be here in my arms. Waiting for tonight, oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. And when I wake up, I see you with me. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but then I saw you and I felt things I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. I had a dream, I got everything I wanted, not what you think. And if I'm being honest, it might have been a nightmare to anyone who might care. Thought I could fly, fly, fly. So I stepped off the golden, no. Nobody cried, cried, cried. Nobody even noticed. noticed I saw them standing right there. Kinda thought they might care. I had a dream. I got everything I wanted, but when I wake up, I see you with me. And you say, as long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. I don't wanna lie, yeah, but you can learn to. If I could change the way that you see yourself, you wouldn't wonder why, yeah. They don't deserve you. I'm waiting for tonight. Oh, when you would be here in my arms, waiting for tonight. Oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long, waiting for tonight. Oh, when you would be here in my arms, waiting for tonight. Oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. And when I wake up, I see you with me. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but when I saw you, I felt something I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. My last made me feel like I would never try again, but then I saw you and I felt things I never felt. Come closer, give you all my love. If you treat me right, baby, I'll give you everything. I had a dream, I got everything I wanted, not what you think. And if I'm being honest, it might have been a nightmare to anyone who might care. Thought I could fly, 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 so I stepped off the golden. No, nobody cried, cried, cried. Nobody even noticed I saw them standing right there. Kinda thought they might care. I had a dream. I got everything I wanted, but when I wake up, I see you with me. And you say, as long as I'm here,